All right. Stand by, Shane.
I'm here.
Okay. Shane, how you doing?
I am fantastic. Yourself?
I'm great. Thank you for hopping on the live YouTube stream here
Not a
and
problem. Looking forward to it.
taking us through your process a little bit. This is pretty cool to be able to watch you kind of do your thing with the SketchUp software and show us how you go about designing a home.
Yeah, this is kind of down to, this is the basic, this is ground level. There's nothing here but the ground and the sky.
Right. Yeah. And we're starting from scratch, really blank slate, which is what I kind of wanted to do. And just to give folks a little bit of context, this is right now we're designing our model home. Every year, J&RS build, we build, typically every year we do a model home. That's kind of been the pace, it seems like, as of late. And so
Yeah.
we just started the process, and we really want to kind of give little bit of a behind the scenes look at that process and peel back the curtain a little bit on how we go about that. Um, so here we are, and Shane's going to take us through sort of this first phase of the design process. So this is, like you said, this is kind of the ground zero,
Yep.
blank slate part of the process. So why don't you tell me, before you get into how you use the software to actually design the home, why don't you tell me a little bit about sort of the preliminary work that's been done, and how do you get to this point? Like what kind of work have you put in with the designers, the other designers, or an architect, or um, in right now this is a project for our company, but typically
Yeah.
what kind of stuff would you be doing with the client beforehand to sort of get to this point where you're ready to dive into SketchUp and start designing the home?
Um, so even like you said, this is for us, but it's still a project, in a way it goes through a lot of the same processes that any client's house would go through.
Right.
Um, being Ray, our main, kind of the main footholder on this one, any sketches or preset ideas come from him. So he's the initial napkin sketch holder. So just like if he was a client, being me and Ray, it doesn't take as long, of course, but
Right.
we'll sit down, go over his sketch, kind of what he's looking for, some of the basic info, 1-story, 2-story, basement slab, how many square feet, what kind of look, which is, that always changes too. But so basically from the start, it takes a quick sketch of any degree of accuracy, really, and just a really general kind of bird's eye view of what he's thinking.
Yeah. So this is kind of an iterative process creatively, right? Um, are you sort of taking it one phase at a time? Like, let's get the box sort of up, and then second step, let's start to fill in some of the details
Um,
and the fixtures and the
yeah, so
sort of design.
so it's definitely outside in is the workflow. That's what you call it. First thing to go up is a shell of the whole house, because that will, right off the bat, that dictates how many square feet and what all is going to fit in the house in the first place. So if it's, if the client, or Ray in this case, his main thing is, he wants it on a 34 by 54 foot mono slab, single level, and go from there. So everything will start from that box, you know, that footprint. And then after mainly the exterior is filled up, or the walls are pulled up, the roof line's on, then we kind of dive into more of the interior details, exterior details, finishes, that type of stuff.
Cool. So why don't you take us through here? Why don't you go ahead and dive in and kind of talk to us about the details of this project, what you've kind of had to work from, and how you sort of started the project here.
Yep. So that's, and kind of going back to how it all starts, how do we get to a blank slate? That's usually the quickest part, and the faster for me anyway, the faster I can get to this point right here of a blank screen, my gears don't really start turning until I can start putting down some shapes to play with and everything. So that's
right.
You know, as soon as I start moving stuff around, then I can kind of get more of them creative juices flowing, so to speak. So on this one in particular, this is the initial sketch from the client, which happens to be Ray. And this is pretty good, pretty detailed, especially for an initial one. There's been others that were, say, a lot less, where he's got an idea and wants to see it in a 3D model. So there's basic dimensions.
Do you have it pulled up on the screen right now?
Yeah. Can you see it?
I'm not sure I can see it. You might have to share somehow, enable that.
Let's see.
Maybe that's a setting on my end.
No, that should be, there we go. I should be able to, let's see. Oh, here we go. Can you see it now?
No, not yet.
How about now?
Okay, now I can see it.
Okay. So yeah, this is the basic sketch that first came from the client. This one it's got a good bit of detail, especially for a first one. There's been other ones that are a lot more empty, you know, pretty much a shape that the client will just say, I want to see this in a, you know, put this into closer to real life, a 3D model.
Right.
So this has got overall dimensions, a lot of the basic stuff on there to get a basic model pulled up. This one has site plan as well, somewhere in here. So this site has an address and everything, which further down the road, we'll pull the actual site data in there to get all the all realistic elevations and, you know, plot lines and everything.
Right. Because that land determines, you know, how this architecture might end up in its final state, obviously.
Yeah, if it's got a bit of, you know, if it's got, say it's got a lot of slope where we end up putting a walkout basement or one of the levels walkout or something like that, site can definitely change that.
Are those three different views of the house, or is that the different levels?
This is 3 views, so 3 sides, basic. Okay. So those elevations come off this floor plan, you know, the client's sketch. So these are tentatively the elevations of what that floor plan would do.
Gotcha.
So for starters, might have to keep switching between this. See that?
Yes.
So we're back in the model. that main picture is my first. That main box is the first spot right there. It's kind of might be kind of hard to yak and put accurate dimensions out at the same time, but
yeah, that's essentially the slab right there.
Yeah, so everything starts from there, and then this modeling view and everything it's pretty trimmed down as far as what can be like. This isn't a rendering. This is a model. You know, this is the work mode of the thing.
Gotcha.
So that point right there that's kind of your home point right there, where your axis meets. Anytime you're floating around or all tangled up, you got kind of two buttons to bring you back there.
Yeah.
Yep. And even if I had them, they're still there.
Gotcha.
So here and there, of course, you know, if you need to recenter, but mainly they're just visually, just for reference. So right now we have a footprint, 54 by 34. Everything in SketchUp kind of runs off basic push-pull principles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's lots of more. You know, I don't know where I'm sitting as far as the scale goes, but there's lots of basic stuff, and you can get really into depth as, you know, you can get real detailed. But
yeah.
So we have a rectangle, and you pretty much pull it up into whatever shape. Then you got a box. You want to cut a hole in the box, you know, it's kind of the same principles for everything.
Yeah.
But
it's cool stuff.
That varies, of course. So once I got a slab, that's the basic box there. I'll just put it in a group, and that's its own thing now. You can hide it, unhide it. A big thing with this program, as of course everything, is if you can stay organized from start to finish through your model, you'll thank yourself for putting things in groups, components.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of the next thing is to get those exterior walls drawn up, and even if it's to pull them into their basic size. So we got 6-inch walls, 9 feet high. So we got a 9-foot ceiling. There's some exterior walls.
There you go.
That's in a group too. So everything is, you know, once there gets to be a lot of items in there, being able to hide something and look around, get underneath something is pretty big, pretty important. So
you can also with that, you put something in a group, then try like a different dimension or a different pattern. Do you do that often, or is it?
Yeah, if there's any time I want to try something to see how it looks, and I don't want to change my whole thing, it's pretty easy to pretty much copy it and try
do another
something else
draft
with that. Yeah. Of course, the more and more things you add to your model, it gets complex. So you want to keep it to kind of going back to that, keeping it organized from the start is a pretty big thing. So on my other screen, which you can't see, is usually just where I keep my second screen is the placeholder of, having a piece of paper on my desk of the sketch. That's pretty much what that second screen is.
So
on
you're
there
always
right
kind
now,
of just toggling back and forth.
Yeah, yep. So I can just look between the two and keep referencing a picture or a sketch on there. So once that is pulled up, you know, basic shape there, I kind of usually start trying to think how things usually. It's hard to when you're in it and you're in your workflow, you just cruise, you know.
That's right.
But so you kind of don't think about your own process that much.
Right.
But on this one in particular, the second thing I would add is this place will have a good sized patio on it.
Okay.
And so adding something like that, and that's into that same group, that's kind of your orientation point. You can kind of remember everything doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
But that's where we'll have a patio. Exterior doors, you know, we'll just kind of chuck them in for the moment, just as a placeholder there. That would be a patio door. Probably the next thing, whatever is usual, is a garage door. So we got a 24 by 20 garage. And these little guides right here are this is my tape measure. So that, and those guides will go, you know, off into the sunset as far as you can see. So if you want to, as far as lining stuff up, that's a pretty handy tool.
And do you at this point in your design career, do you kind of have a pretty good feel, like proportionally? Because, you know, looking at this thing, you really don't have any kind of reference for, you know, how big this actually is. You know, if I'm just looking at it, I can't really tell, you know, a reference point for size. So is that just something you sort of instinctively have an idea of, or do you have a way to sort of feel that out as you go?
Yeah, just from, yeah, I think I do, and it's not like I wouldn't say it's like a huge learned skill, but just, you know, say the field guys, if they come in here and look at this, they might not have any sense of how big things are. But if, say, I went out in the field, it'd kind of be the same. Right. And on the other end, where I wouldn't quite know what's going where, and so this is kind of my, you know, right now when I'm doing this stuff, this is my field right here, say.
Yeah. And obviously you sort of have that those limitations to work within. You're given them the measurements you need to use. So yeah. But you know, you're probably thinking about, I guess, you know, what's a good size for the kitchen to be? What's a typical, you know?
Oh yeah.
As far as that goes, you know, what's going to be enough room? Or I'm sure, and again, it probably varies per client. You know, some client wants the kitchen to be bigger, the bedrooms to be smaller. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that kind of. I think a lot of that, you know, kind of starting from outside in is. As soon as you start putting in interior walls, you kind of get a sense of, say this garage was 30 by 30 right off the bat. It would, you know, you might get some little alarm bells like that could possibly be too big, you know, so you kind of note to self that it may be a future spot to take some room from. A lot of sketches, you know, napkin type sketches. That's an official term in my brain, I guess.
Yeah.
Napkin type sketch.
Do you have a pile of napkins that you just are constantly sketching?
Yeah, I usually, I get them from the
You give it to
drive-through,
the
and I just,
client. Here's your napkin
yeah,
sketch.
yeah, yeah, yep, that's what we're gonna build right
Little
there.
J&RS logo on there.
Yeah,
This is a high quality napkin though.
it's a
Like
very nice
this is not
napkin.
your typical like
Yeah, exactly. This ain't a
flimsy napkin.
run-of-the-mill napkin. In my on my second screen up there, this is how I have that picture oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you get stuck, it's that's the kind of back to home is match up all the orientations
Yeah, that
where
helps.
you're at, see what you drew so far, and kind of try to keep moving.
So you got the garage in there.
Yep, we got a garage. We'll chuck a garage door in there in a sec. One thing about working in groups, which is if you're distracted, you forget a lot. If I'm going to add a wall to here, that thing won't go in my interior wall group unless I open that group first.
Okay.
So it's that was a pretty, that's a big thing to learn, that I'm definitely always kind of learning how and when to do it.
Yeah.
But keeping that model organized is a pretty big thing.
So these two bedrooms. This is the first story. This is the first of two stories, right?
Yep. So this will be, or no, sorry. This will be a 1-story.
Oh, it's a 1-story.
Yep.
So that changed.
Flat roof.
It was supposed to be 2 stories, right? Now it's gonna be 1.
Yes, we've had a couple different, kind of ran through a couple different iterations of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of lot size and location depending, and
right.
So I think we'll be able to make a 1-story a good fit in there. Now we got the man door going into the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Right here, we're going to have, we got a row of, this wall will be a closet.
Yep.
So a big part of the 2'6", a big part of the initial kind of, so right now it's a big part of it is transferring kind of what the client drew and any dimensions, floor plans. Transferring that into your model is kind of the first step.
Yeah.
Of course, that varies on how much you have from the client, or if it was there's always ones that are like, they want to, all they kind of have an idea so far is of the size that they want, and that's
right. So there's more room for you to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, which is
super specific.
Yeah, yep. So
which way do you like to operate more? Do you like, I want every single detail, or do you like some sort of flexibility for you to do your thing?
That's a good question. That can kind of go from, if you have, if there is a predetermined limitations, say, to the project. I like working from that standpoint a lot, where, say you're in a bind, you have only so much space to work with, and you want to squeeze the most out of something.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. It's a little more challenging in a way, but in another way, it's also a little easier. Say starting from a completely blank slate is, there's a lot of guesswork, say, right off the bat, where you might be, headed down the line, you're on a roll with some stuff, and then find out that you're a ways off, or I don't know. I kind of just, you might say I'm more of or I might say I like more of a reactive
Right.
design style instead of or as opposed to a proactive. But
Yeah.
I think that's definitely I don't know. That's a decent preference based of what you like to draw, what you like to design.
Yeah. And I suppose the program's called SketchUp. So, this is intended to be a rough draft, sort of, to put it that way. I mean, this is going to change. So you're probably not overly concerned about having everything perfect. You're really just trying to get the rough outline of where things go.
Yep. I'm trying to get the feel of, say 3D being, looking at something in 2D versus 3D. When you're looking at it in 3D, you have, or real life, you have perspective. So that's kind of a big main thing, or the SketchUp's kind of main job for us is to get that perspective and see what you're working with, and to kind of all around just get a better feel of what you have and what's kind of going on.
So where are you now here? What's sort of behind the entryway from the garage there?
This here.
That's a closet, right?
Yep. So this will be a bedroom, a master bedroom. This will be a one-walled closet, if you call it that. So we got 6'9" by 2'6", where you'd probably say, I'm guessing further down the road, we'll put in maybe 2'3". A full custom closet unit where, shelves, curtain rod.
Yeah.
It's not overly big, but it's kind of unique in the sense that, you've got to pass through something to get to the bedroom. But say if you're I don't know, imagine walking into your house after work, dirty clothes, shower, sleep, wake up, whatever, shower, clean clothes, and so kind of fresh in and out is, I don't know, kind of what's in the brain for that.
What's the approximate square footage for the total home?
This one will be, I'll tell you. So this will be about 1,800 gross, and that's including garage and everything else. So gross being footprint dimensions and that's it. If it was a second floor that was the exact same footprint size, you'd pretty much just double that to get the
Gotcha.
grows. A lot of times on the classic napkin sketch, one thing that gets, I wouldn't say, it's not that it gets looked over, but it always takes up more space than people think is wall thickness. So if they, they give you say they want a 10 by 10 addition with a 5 by 5 closet in it. Well, that 5 by 5 closet ends up being, if you add 10 walls throughout this whole house, that's going to be, that could be a couple feet thick by the time you're done. So that wall thickness, they seem to take up more space than
you think?
Yeah, than you originally think.
Yeah. And I suppose that there's variables with that as far as exterior walls compared to interior walls. We're in Minnesota, so it's cold. You have to have a certain thickness,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure there's standards there for what that can be and what it needs to be.
Yeah, your, say, typical exterior walls running 2x6 and your interiors 2x4. So, and of course, you get, you got a lot. You need a thicker wall on the outside to get a appropriate insulation in there. Now the bedroom, I kind of ran into a couple kind of pinch points in this master bedroom and where the closet and bath will be.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of at that stage, I don't really mess with it too much more until I know what will kind of solve the issue, if there is any on there.
Did you learn SketchUp on your own? Were you self-taught completely, or did you take any kind of training?
It was, I guess, self-taught. I mean, of course, I did the YouTube tutorials and everything. There's a lot of really good SketchUp people out there, so there's a lot more to learn, and this program is in a lot of different, is used in a lot of different industries. So it's got a
pretty powerful.
Yeah. There's a wide variety of stuff you can do with it. So I definitely haven't learned it all, that's for sure.
in this process, what kind of that you're going through right now, what are it seems pretty straightforward what it takes to get the drawing up and running.
Yeah.
Are there any tools that you're looking to incorporate, that like any features that can add value to this process for you, or just
a lot of to get the basic stuff done, I don't really use too many
drag and drop a little bit?
Yeah, not really any real specialty tools. So SketchUp has their extensions or their add-ons, which are very plentiful. There's in their extension warehouse, there's somebody has or can create just about any tool for any action that you've wanted. If it's a specialty, I'll show you in a second. There's a button that I wished was there, and that is a line extension. So if I draw a line, which I just hit L and draw a line. Well, let's say I did this. Say I was gonna cut a doorway in here or something, but then turned out I wanted to make it longer that way.
Mm-hmm.
This tool, which I assigned a shortcut for, which is super easy. Shift E is a line extension tool, and that, as simple as it seems, has solved a lot of issues. It won't let you. It'll stay connected to that line, and a lot of times if you're drawing a manual line, of course you can do it, but like that, it just connected outside of the wall, which you can't. But yeah, so there's a lot of there it is right there. So it's that tool just, and I don't know, adds a lot of, there's a lot of basic tools like that are, people say, I don't know, it becomes needed enough and somebody will just program it, and
right,
and you got a tool for it. So now we got another bedroom, the nice size walk-in closet, 5 by 5. The doorway is about here for it.
And is that another doorway off the garage next to the bathroom, or next to the closet?
Right here.
On the other side of the closet?
That is mechanical room.
Oh,
that one right there. Yeah, so
gotcha.
that, and I think we will probably
Makes
shrink
sense.
this one down a bit too. Yeah, so that's your water heater, your furnace, maybe a bit of storage. I like to make these doorways a little bigger. Say you need to replace a furnace or wherever, get tools, water heater in and out of there. Getting yourself some elbow room in there is pretty handy.
Makes sense.
Next we got laundry coming in right here. Another handy tool is, which is a standard one in there. M is move, and if you hit M and then control, it automatically makes a copy. So if you want to say for this, I'm going to make a doorway right there. I can select that line. If I just went to move it, stuff would get all funny. But if I control, it just makes a copy. So
Gotcha.
and then if it's still selected, I can just hit control again and make another copy.
I bet those shortcuts become pretty second nature.
Yeah, they're
It's kind of like video editing for me. In the program I use, it's like if I have to stop and tell somebody about it, like this is what my fingers. I'm not thinking about it when I do it. It's like I don't even know what buttons I'm pressing sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely very similar to that. Yeah, as soon as I stop to think about, a lot of what I'm doing, I'm like, how did I actually do that? I hit some buttons and then it was there. Yeah, a lot of trial and error as far as learning this software, but once you get those basics, you're set to go for a good while.
Yeah.
I have unfortunately a couple times not here. So I got this this program is on top of it being, this is my favorite program I've ever used. And it's really not that expensive, especially compared to other options that are out there. There is, of course, more specific options for things, but if you're doing say you're doing 3D only mechanical stuff, say you're doing fluid simulations and stuff like that, you're probably going to go with something more like SolidWorks, where it's got a lot of built-in calculations and formulas for stuff. Where this is, there's no intelligence to this wall right here.
Right.
But in that sense, I can add it. I can make that a component, a 2x4 wall with whatever amount of studs in it.
Your doors are typically they're gonna be a standard door size, so you could sort of program that in. That's just like cut and paste almost.
Yeah. So and then kind of once you have them in there, they're in there to stay. But a couple of times I've been drawing just some random gadgets on my own at home, just kind of learning the program, which was kind of my first realization into why having an organized model is super huge.
Yeah.
But I had groups within groups and components that I didn't know I made, and then so a component is, if I make a box, I can make that a group, and a component, I can just name it box 1, 3x3 or something. Now every one of these I make with a copy of, they are the same. So if I'm going to make a stair spindle set, say, every spindle will be the same. So whatever I change on this one will change on all the other ones.
That's slick.
So I made a couple pieces, components, and I mean, I was just learning it, didn't realize it, and changed one, and stuff was just changing, and it can get disastrous
Yeah.
pretty quickly. For me, anyways. This is one thing of many that I really love about this job is using this program, and time just flies when you're in here.
Yeah.
It's totally like you're in a different little, you're in your own world for a while.
Yeah.
Which is good, but can be bad if suddenly you're like, oh, it's dark. What happened to the day?
And is there 3 bedrooms total in this home?
Yes. Yep. And this place will have a lot of window space, a lot of daylight.
So that's
That'll
good.
be good and airy.
It's like our last 2 model homes. The windows are so good on both those homes, the Knife River and the
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of daylight, a lot of warm. Even having that extra daylight on the gray days that we get around here is still better than none.
I would even say like that makes up for, square footage sometimes if your home's smaller, or I feel like having good natural light, big windows really makes a difference in just how spacious
totally.
it feels,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is definitely, that's a huge thing. If you have a smaller footprinted, say, house, and you just want more air, windows will, not in a excuse the pun, but windows will add you some air.
Yeah.
Just that feeling of space and warmth.
Yeah. Some connection to nature. And
yeah, not feeling like you're, boxed into something.
is that another bathroom there off to the right behind the mechanical room?
This is laundry.
Laundry.
That one's closet. Yeah, and that one's mechanical. I'm finding myself having to stop and think when I'm normally in my automatic mode,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm glad you kind of did this already. So it's more like retracing your footsteps.
Yep. Yeah, there's everything's a decent bit familiar already.
Looks like you're probably working on the kitchen there. starting to, or is
This
that another
is
bedroom?
that, yeah, I kind of confused that other bedroom with something else there for a sec. I think that gets changed a bit too. Let's see. So this one is also a bathroom. And this bathroom will be pretty much mirrored to this one, except for the doorway wall.
Okay.
Yeah, we've up until now we have had some other changes on this that we've kind of talked about. So this project has been, in the works for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, I'm gonna run into some issues there. But we'll keep moving on to some funner looking stuff too. That there's always a point where it's like, something like that. I know there's gonna be some adjustments in there, but I usually like to get as much done as I can and as much stuff I know is gonna be pretty permanent or for sure. I like to do a lot of that right off the bat. I think it just kind of helps get and keep the feeling of what you're shooting for in that house.
Right. What would you say for when you're presenting something like this to a client then? What are some things that, for them to understand, or for, because I'm not personally, like, I'm not familiar with looking at design plans and drawings, and obviously somebody's thinking about building their house or remodeling their home. They've been thinking about this. Maybe they've done some research, but maybe what are some misconceptions that can be there when thinking about this stuff? Obviously, probably the realistic. There's always the budget. There's the,
Yeah.
what's practical, what's actually going to be realistic. But anything like that, for you tend to see when it comes to this part of the process?
I don't know if this answers your question or not, I guess, but it's pretty common that that people will not know what is possible to build or to design it and build it. Like there's, you see most of the houses outside, especially in your local area, they generally look the same, so it's hard to get out of the mindset that it needs to be similar, or, this is what I've seen before. Of course, there's all the online resources and everything, but you can do a lot more with a house as far as shape and design, and it
Yeah.
maintaining that function and everything just as well the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a lot of, it's, I don't want to say scared to be creative with their house, but
Maybe just more of an open mind to what's possible.
yeah, and that might just be because, I haven't built my own house myself, so I can definitely see where it'd be like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that, and
Yeah.
like, there might be some ideas that seem kind of wild, but turns out they work sweet and they're good and functional, and
Yeah.
I don't know, that kind of
Yeah. No, that's
make things
a
more
good point. That's a
confusing.
good point. And it's
Oops.
yeah, I'd be interested to see some of the maybe like, obviously there's like super modern, almost like art homes where, they're just creating something super expensive and high end and luxury. But
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see more like practical sort of trends towards different styles and how in homes. I mean, if you look at our last one, even Martin Road, I feel like that's even got a unique look.
Its own.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
it's got that, just a unique roof, sort of jagged roof, which is very subtle, but it's just, I
It's
feel
enough
like
to
even that's
break
just
it
like a,
out of the
yeah,
mold a bit, if that's
right.
the
It's refreshing,
term.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's,
Um, and then the Knife River one too is a little more dramatic, but
oh yeah.
still, like really cool, open concept. Not the
Open,
biggest home
airy, and
again. Yeah, not the
yeah.
biggest home footprint wise, but again, just a great way to make a
Yeah.
smaller space feel really grand and
Yeah.
large,
Oh yeah. I think the a lot of the times the default, say for drawing a house, or say it used to be anyway, was excuse me, if something didn't fit, the default was, oh, just make this a little bigger or push that wall out, or which basically is adding square footage. And it's, I feel like it has, part of the reason if it has been a default is it's definitely the quickest way, and it is the easiest way to solve the problem from a
right.
design aspect, but it is, I definitely don't agree with it. It's
There's another way to go
adding,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, which could take a lot more puzzle work, but that's, I mean, on my end, that's the preferable type of
Right.
drawing stuff. But
Sometimes those challenges are going to create probably really cool results, like
yeah,
rather than just, I mean, obviously, you want to make the house bigger, you make the house bigger. It's not always the wrong thing to do, but
yeah,
it could lead to some interesting, more just kind of like maybe like it become the best part of the house because you had to like solve this
you had to do
problem, and
yeah,
it turned out to be really
you
a
had to
really
add
great solution.
yeah, it's definitely, if somebody's, they're trying to, like, it doesn't have to be, if you want your dream house, but the design you had done or you have is just too many square feet to get everything you wanted in there, and it's just too big. It blew the budget on square footage. Well, I think with a lot of just a lot more puzzling. You can just fit a lot of stuff into, you can fit more stuff into a space than you think it seems.
Yeah.
I don't want to, say one way or the other, because there's still the preference. Like, if somebody wants a 10,000 square footer, that's all yours. But if it's, if somebody's really trying to make it happen in 2,000 square feet or less, that is totally possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Just on the subject of old floor plans and how they used to do things. My brother was over at my home this weekend, and we live in like a 100-year-old home in West Duluth.
Oh yeah.
And but I grew up in Minneapolis, and my brother was here, and he was like, you know what, this reminds me of our dad's house growing up. Like, this is the same. It's literally the exact same floor plan. And I looked around, I was like, you're right. It's almost like they must have used like the same. And this is in Duluth, compared to Minneapolis, but I'm sure they just sort of like, there was a little more uniformity when it came to building homes back then. And I was looking, I was like, it's exactly the same.
Pretty much just a copy,
right?
Copy off of the same principles.
The same, the same plan, yeah.
I think having these, the new tech in design, like this program and stuff, is a big thing that helps break that need to just, I can't see what else to do. I'm just gonna add some more square feet to work with.
Right.
But not that, and obviously there was some, and there is some fantastic architects and stuff out there that can think like that, on 2D flat paper.
Yeah.
But in a way, this, for me anyway, it takes a lot of that kind of mental, more, manual mental calculations out, where I can just look at it and, oh yeah, that fits there. And
right.
I'm a pretty visual person myself, I'd rather draw something and show somebody than try to explain it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
So now we got a garage, and I think our front door.
And we got all 3 bedrooms in there now over there.
Yep.
Living space, kitchen.
Yep. Kitchen
out to the patio there in the back
corner. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool to see that all come together.
We're gonna put a roof on this thing in a sec.
Oh, there's a roof on this house?
Yeah, we like to do them with roofs a lot, just to keep the snow out.
We're not that outside the box, huh?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some traditions that are still around for a reason, such as roofs and floors.
Right.
I mean, the dirt is good, but you stay in the sandbox. So now I got a front door, a garage door. It goes in there. Windows are another thing that is that's a big part when you get to the windows part of adding windows into your design and into your walls.
Yeah.
Those for me, those have always kind of been a stop and think a little bit point, because it's to make them all kind of uniform. And if I just worked on one wall at a time and just filled it full of windows and then look somewhere else, I might. It's all got to kind of match to some point, around. So, so going back to, for that roof.
And should we reference back to that? I'd be interested to see that initial.
Yeah. We'll jump back into that
floor plan again.
Let's see. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Still see it?
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, so here we have, we kind of just roughed in all the spaces. Garage, bedroom, 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 bath, bath, mechanical, closet, laundry, closet, closet, kitchen and living, dining is all in there. There's your entryway, so front door is right there. Little entry closet, we got that in there. Patio. So now these, we'll get to the site just later more still. So these elevations is what kind of comes next. Obviously, we have walls and all to the exterior walls to at least the minimum wall height, but these fellers here will go up to 12 feet. So that this is inside that kitchen, living, dining area.
Gotcha.
So there'll be a ton of daylight, real airy feeling. You have windows on 4 sides of the thing, so you got light, coming in one side and going out the other. So it'll be a sweet feeling place.
Yeah.
So we got to make them walls taller, ceilings and roofs, which will be part of the ceiling in this model anyway. And then we'll start putting some windows in there. So
And maybe we'll I'm thinking maybe stop here and do a part 2
yeah.
for windows and roofs, or is that a pretty quick process?
Let's get the roofs on in that
Okay.
wall brought up to 12 foot. And
We'll
then
cap it off and then
we'll have a chapter 2.
do part 2. Yeah.
So in those, in that sketch, which you can't see anymore. So that 12-foot part, let's see, we'll stop it at, and this is one of those kind of unique factors that is, say, out of the ordinary. It's not your standard, maybe your standard way of thinking about doing it, but it'll be sweet. So we got 12-foot walls on that one. This little chunk here will be more exterior wall. So this bedroom right here is going to have one spot. It's going to go from 9-foot ceiling to 12-foot ceiling.
All right.
Which kind of a why not? Like, we could either box it off and have some dead space, or try to use that upstairs space or that upper from out here.
Yeah.
Or give that room kind of a, something unique about it. You can.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Put some whatever space stickers on your ceiling or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that one. So now we have 12 feet of windows that are going to go on this wall. So for a roof, let's see. I think I went the wrong way with that wall. Sure did. Move that over a little bit, match flush with that. So there's that for the roofs. This thing is going to have a flat roof. which will be sweet. Make that a group. I think they are, this one will be 14 feet. So in that same group right there, we can go over and build the big roof too. I say 14 feet, 14 inches. And add some overhang.
Overhang there. Yeah. That's completely flat, right? There's no.
Yep.
There's no elevation. There's no incline to those roofs, right?
Correct. They'll be. They'll kind of have their own drainage system, just like, you know, in a way, just like your, you know, a commercial building.
Mm-hmm.
But on this roof, we hope to incorporate a deck up there.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that. I was like, this seems like it's asking for like a deck or something up top.
A lot of, yeah. So they'll probably have a parapet on it, I think is what it's called. So that, this button F is called offset. So it takes anything on the inside, or it can pull it to the outside, all lines connected on that phase. So this will be up a little bit, and then in the middle of there, I know which way it will split. Say it's probably splits this way. So off to that side and off to this side. So we can just lower it right now. So there's a little bit of slope in that. So from here, it's flat, you know, from anywhere that you can really see, especially off the ground, it's a flat roof. So inside the parapet, which I hope that's called, you got a 1/4 inch per foot, I think is, you know, a little slope, and then those slopes will go down to, you'll have your gutter box down there or something, somewhere in there coming out. So if you build a deck over it, that deck in a way kind of spans like that, just kind of floats over that part. Your drainage still goes down underneath it.
How's that deck going to be accessed then?
We are going to do a stair set off this side going up here.
Interesting.
Actually, this patio will have a walkway. Add that in quick too. And this walkway will go, on that end it'll stop there. So then the stairs will be, that'll come out a little farther too. So the stairs will go up here, and we haven't got that far yet, how they're gonna make the turn, but it could be just as much as a, you know, a landing off this thing like that. And then kind of up there, not that ugly looking, of course, but so yeah, that's the basics of the box right there.
That's the basics right there. Yeah, that's cool, Shane.
Yeah, there's
pretty good.
There's more to come, you know, and we can take, you know, this can get to a fully filled, you know, every room, you know, we'll plunk a queen bed in here, a twin in here and here. We'll put some cabinets in, toilet, vanity, shower, kitchen cabinets, put some furniture, fireplace in there.
start to
Yeah.
deck it out a little bit.
Yeah. So it can kind of go as far as you want it to, or say as far as a client wants it to go to.
Right.
If this was, the exact floor plan they wanted, and they had it good enough in their head where they're like, I'm not going to do dark vertical here and there, so just give me a floor plan or something. They can.
Right.
It's enough to work off.
Right.
So,
Well, cool. I think that's a good place to end it. That was just cool to see you work, and I think I learned a thing or two about just the design and planning process. So I look forward to connecting again and seeing as this progresses, how it evolves, and then eventually seeing the thing built and being able to walk through it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be more to come for sure.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
All right. Well, I'll let you get going. We'll sign off here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks. We'll see ya.
Bye.